Lions. This is Chris Guzman with your weekly Thursday night, or not weekly. It used to be weekly. Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live, as always, on Ustream.tv. It is Thursday, July the 2nd, 2009. We are live from Leg Up Production Studios in Hobart, Indiana, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. On the left side of your screen is Amel, Soda Popinski, Kegabon, Mo. What is going on with you?
Not much, man. I had a bunch of problems last week. That's actually my fault that we didn't have a show between me and my wife. I had some medical problems between the two of us. Her sugar
I don't know if I'd actually say your fault.
Oh, it's more my fault than your fault.
He's out of shape. He couldn't work.
Well,
Anyway.
Amber her sugar dropped. She passed out. They actually broke her nose, so we had a nice little trip to the emergency room via ambulance. And then the next day, or 2 days later, actually, because I took the next day off work. Then I came back and they told me I was going back in the field. It's 95 degrees with about 80% humidity. Here, go drag some trees. And I got like heat exhaustion. And my vision on the way home, I basically had tunnel vision, so I had to have somebody come pick me up, and drank a bunch of fluids, and I'm better now. So
Luckily, there was a bar nearby.
Exactly. And made it to the fights on Friday night.
Made it to the fights on Friday. Yeah, we had some good fights. We'll be talking about those in just a second. Glad your wife's okay. Glad you're okay. Nestor Garza-Romero makes a triumphant return back to the ring. Nestor, how the hell are you?
Man, I am very relaxed today. It's nice to have a day off during the week again. I spent 2 weeks working straight, 6 days a week, so it's nice to have a day off. But it's been a relaxing day today. The wife and I didn't do a whole lot. We sat on the deck, had a couple of drinks.
Nice.
So
Missed you at the Hall of Fame this year, brother.
yeah, I know. I really wanted to go, but unfortunately, with the way the business is right now, it's very difficult to justify spending that kind of money. Besides, I don't have any little gloves to sell, so. Wouldn't have,
Oh, isn't that cute?
Wouldn't have done any good for my trip. By the way, how was the Hall of Fame? How'd you?
Hall of Fame was outstanding. All of our listeners have already heard all this talk already.
I apologize.
Are you all good?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, okay.
Getting levels right.
No, Lennox Lewis's induction speech was awesome. Got to meet him, got to shake his hand, got my picture with him. Paul Williams was outstanding to hang out with. In fact, we're going to be talking live with Paul Williams in just about 10 minutes. We should have been on a couple of minutes ago, Timmy, but there were a couple problems. Timmy, the producer, Patterson, over there at the controls. Timmy, what's going on with you?
I got my hands full tonight, man. Computer not working properly, but we're on now. Things are good. We're going to have Paul Williams on here in 10 minutes, and looking forward to that, buddy. We'll be good from here on out. I got a nice cold one sitting next to me as my co-pilot, and life is good right now.
Well, how can our listeners get in touch with us tonight and ask questions for Paul Williams and all that kind of thing?
Well, please don't, because that'll just be one more thing I screw up. But
Okay, do not listen to him. Do what you want to do.
I'm just kidding, guys. If you want to get a hold of us, guys, best way to reach us is in the chat room via Ustream.tv. We got Judy O'Brien, Pete the Heat, Little Holmes, somebody else in there. I didn't quite see who that was scrolling across the screen.
Because he can't read.
Of me, my screen there. But you can also hit us up on the hotline, 219-743-9743. Yahoo Instant Messenger is up and running. Keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour.
All right. Well, first and foremost, before we get to any fight news, not to use a copyrighted name or anything, but before we get to any actual boxing news, I mean, all the death that we endured last week, starting with
Ed McMahon.
Ed McMahon, moving on down, Farrah Fawcett, Michael Jackson, and Carl Malden also passed during the week,
Jada
and then
Justice.
What?
Jada Justice, that little girl from.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And then Billy Mays, the OxyClean hawker.
There was actually an actor, I don't know his name, from Gary that passed away too.
I was unaware of that.
And someone brought up to me today.
But not the least of which, in fact, right on up there at the top, is easily one of the greatest men and one of the greatest boxers that has ever lived. Senor Alexis Arguello of Nicaragua has passed away. There's conflicting reports, but it is starting to look a little bit more like
He took his own life.
Like a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Fight News was actually reporting earlier in the day that they found gun powder residue on his hand after, there was a gunshot wound to the chest, which seemed a little unlikely that would be a suicide, but when there's residue on someone's hand and no forced entry, all arrows sort of point that way.
Where was he? He was a mayor of.
Mayor of I don't know exactly, but he was definitely a high-ranking officer in Nicaragua.
Oh, okay. And I mean, obviously, everybody's been talking about his fights with Pryor.
Yeah,
I mean,
Aaron Pryor. They were actually advertised that there was going to be an Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor reunion at the Hall of Fame this year, and that ended up not happening. He had obviously more than just some personal issues. He had some very deep issues that he needed to deal with, and it ended in the worst possible way. So our prayers and thoughts go out to the Arguello family.
Yeah, there's actually on our website there's a nice little article about with an interview basically with Pryor from the Associated Press.
Yeah, he can't be feeling too great right now. Again, we've got Paul Williams in about 8 minutes. I've got to talk a second about this Marcos Maidana against Victor Ortiz fight that we saw on HBO on Saturday night. This was all Golden Boy Promotions, and it was like a 2-hour time slot. There was only one fight in the whole thing, though. So
yeah.
Where they were expecting the fight to go a little longer.
And they were expecting Ortiz to win.
They were definitely expecting Ortiz to win.
Because a lot of that was all building up to how Ortiz worked through his career, his family, doing the whole Olympic special, basically.
Definitely had a rough life, but Marcos Maidana did not care about the life that Ortiz had. He said, man, I've got 2 gloves on just like you do, man. And he took him out. It was actually officially a TKO. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the Paul Williams interview, but
yeah, Maidana, he actually had lost his previous fight. It was for a title and a very close fight that a lot of people thought he actually won. And then he said, he goes, I get a second title shot right afterwards. He goes, it's almost like they're giving me a gift. He goes, I can't let it pass by. And
he did it.
And he dotted both of Ortiz's eyes.
Yes, he did.
He crossed his T's.
I mean, Ortiz's left eye looked like a hockey puck. It was just like a hockey puck was trying to escape his face, and the right side of his eye was, his right eye was a giant gash. I mean,
yeah, it was clearly from a punch.
It was a bloody fight. There were multiple knockdowns of both fighters.
In the first round.
First round, both guys went down. Second round, I think Maidana went down twice.
Like an 8-7 round or something?
Yeah, in the first 2 rounds.
He called it a 10-10 since they both went down.
Oh, you gave him a 10-10.
You could call it a 2-2. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah,
I mean, it's even.
I just think it's funny.
Real quick before we take our first break and we come back with Paul Williams, I want to talk about the 8-count promotion fights that we were privileged to witness live and in person on Friday night of this past week at UIC Pavilion. Dominic Pasoli's 8-count promotions always put on awesome fights.
Yeah.
We're absolutely blessed to be able to go, 30 minutes away from home and see world-class fights like this. Ivan Popoca, definitely a name you guys need to know. He messed over Hector Alatorre.
Yeah, and he actually had David Diaz in his corner yelling the whole time. Actually, I don't know if he was in his corner or
he was definitely standing near the corner.
Wherever he was, Ivan was definitely hearing him yell.
Very much
double that hook.
Yeah. We also had the Big O, Fast Frez Oquendo, heavyweight contender.
In his MMA debut.
This was sort of an MMA debut. We'll talk about it a little later, but there was a lot of wrestling in that fight. And there is a new WBAN Fighter of the Week, which is the one of the many women's boxing sanctioning bodies, Tammy Johnson, who beats Rita Figueroa. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with our interview of Paul the Punisher Williams here on Bolo Punch.